Walter's Price, the golden boy of Redwood High. His dad owned half the town, his sneakers cost more than some teacher's monthly salary, and his confidence? Let's just say if ego were a gas, he could power a plane. And then came Grace Carter, the new English teacher. Soft-spoken, graceful, always calm, the kind of woman who'd bring cookies for the staff meeting and still scare your conscience into behaving. What nobody knew was that before the calm came combat. Grace was a former Army instructor, trained to keep soldiers in line with just one look. But Walters didn't know that. On her first week, Grace caught him teasing a shy student who couldn't pronounce a word right. She asked him, kindly, to apologize. Walters smirked, leaned back in his chair, and said, "Miss Carter, you're cute when you try to sound in charge." The class gasped. Grace blinked slowly, that kind of blink that says, "Dear Lord, give me patience," or an audience for what's about to happen. The silence was thicker than school cafeteria stew. Everyone waited for her reaction. Grace smiled. "Mr. Price, it's impressive how confident you are in being wrong." Laughter exploded. Walters frowned. His jaw tightened. He'd never been laughed at before. Not by classmates and definitely not by a teacher. Hey guys, welcome back to Splendid Tales, where we turn ordinary moments into unforgettable lessons. If you love justice, humor, and sweet karma, you're in the right place. Grace turned back to the board and kept teaching like nothing happened. But Walters, he was already plotting his revenge. Before you go, don't forget to hit that like button, drop a comment if you've ever seen a student act like a mini boss, and subscribe so you don't miss what happens next. Trust me, it gets wild. By the next morning, Walters walked into class like he was starring in a superhero movie no one asked for. He wore sunglasses indoors, tossed his backpack onto the floor, and whispered to his friend, "Watch and learn. I'm taking her crown today." Grace Carter didn't even look up. She just said, "Mr. Price, the sun isn't the only thing that doesn't belong in class. Kindly remove your shades before your brain gets darker." The room erupted. Even the shy kid he bullied last week let out a laugh-snort combo. Walters turned beet red. "You think you're funny, huh?" he barked. Grace smiled, calm as ever. "I don't think so, Mr. Price. I know so. It's called intelligence. Try it sometime." The class gasped so hard you could hear the air leave Walter's ego. He leaned back, trying to recover his cool. "You just don't like confident men," he said. Grace raised an eyebrow. "Confidence without competence is just noise, Walters. And right now, you're practically a marching band." The class lost it. Walters looked like a kettle about to blow. He muttered something under his breath, but Grace simply continued the lesson, teaching Shakespeare while effortlessly destroying his ego line by line. By the end of class, he was quiet. Too quiet. Everyone could feel it. Walters was planning something big. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, because the storm that's coming next, oh, it's poetic justice in uniform. By lunch, Walters was fuming. He slammed his tray on the cafeteria table and hissed, "That woman's out of control. She's got jokes now. I'll make sure she never laughs again." His friends, the usual background noise of bad decisions, hyped him up. "Bro, you gotta put her in her place. She's just a teacher." Walters grinned. "Exactly. A teacher. What's she gonna do? Give me more homework?" A calm voice answered behind him, "Or teach you manners. That's my specialty." He froze. Grace Carter stood right there, holding her lunch tray, not a hair out of place, not a single sign of intimidation. The entire cafeteria went silent. You could hear a fry drop. Walters forced a laugh. "Wow, stalking your students now?" Grace smiled sweetly. "No, just keeping an eye on repeat offenders. In the Army, we called them projects." That caught his attention. "The Army?" he asked, confused. She replied casually, taking a bite of her sandwich. "Used to train soldiers twice your size with half your attitude." The cafeteria gasped like someone hit a drum roll. Walters blinked, the bravado slipping. "You were a soldier?" She smiled again. "But don't worry, I'm still very hands-on with discipline. If you're loving this moment of calm before chaos, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, because next, Walters learns what discipline really means." The next day, the tension in class was thicker than a tailor's measuring tape. Walters strutted in, cracking his knuckles, whispering to his boys, "Watch this! She's done today!" Grace Carter didn't flinch. She stood at her desk, calm and steady as ever, writing on the board, open quote, "Respect is the language of the wise." Close quote. Walters laughed. "Respect? Lady, I don't take orders from people who wear discount shoes." The class gasped. Grace turned around slowly, that military slow turn. Careful, Mr. Price. You're about to get a real-life grammar lesson. Subject, verb, and consequence. Before anyone could blink, Walters stomped forward, puffing his chest. You think you can talk to me like that? He barked, grabbing her by the throat, or at least he tried. In one smooth motion, Grace shifted, gripped his wrist, and pinned him face down on the desk. No force, just precision. The class froze, phones out, mouths open. Grace leaned close and said quietly, "Apologize to me and to the student you mocked." I'm sorry," Walters squeaked. Sounding like a deflating balloon, she let go, straightened her shirt, and smiled. Class dismissed. Walters never raised his voice again. In fact, he started holding doors open like it was a full-time job. Grace looked at her students. Remember, never mistake quiet for weak. Sometimes silence comes with a black belt. If that ending gave you chills, make sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe. And you've been watching Splendid Tales, where every story proves that karma doesn't miss. It just takes good aim.